After thorough testing, I recently changed my everyday OC spray to Palm Personal Defense Spray. It's nasty stuff and I recommend it highly.
One of the other things when we talk about belts, there are belts out there that they make so strong that if you get your F-250 stuck in the mud by the range, you can back another F-250 up to it, you can take your belt off, you can put it around the bumper hitches, and you can pull the F-250 out with your belt. Interestingly enough, they make toe straps for that, okay? And the stiff, super stiff belts will actually prevent the features in the holsters that we're fixing to talk about that help tuck the butt of the gun into the body to make it disappear. They will actually prevent that from happening because of the stiffness of the belt. So for appendix, you don't want a really stiff belt. Like I said, so far the Foundation is the best one I have tried. My second favorite is Wilderness Tactical Frequent Flyer 3-stitch. They make a 5-stitch. I think it's too stiff. The 3-stitch is also the cheaper one, right? Who has ever like said, hey, I know it's cheaper, but it's better, right? You don't hear that anymore. I think it works better for appendix. And it used to be that it worked better for flying, but you still got to take your belt off now, so. Pre-check. Yeah, I'm fixing to do that. Seriously fixing to do that. Okay, any questions on belts? I know I had, all right.
The name of the last one again?
The Wilderness Tactical Frequent Flyer. Frequent Flyer. So the reason it's called the Frequent Flyer is instead of having a big middle buckle, it has 2 nylon rings. So it'll go through a metal detector, etc. I really, really like that belt. There's another belt out there. It's okay. Some people really like it, called the Graith. So there's really good options out there. But again, some of the real super stiff Cobra buckle belts that are out there, I find they do not work well for appendix. They also, at least for me, kill my back. When I'm standing on the line teaching for 10 hours a day, that really makes a difference. So, okay, let's talk about Pant Fit just a little bit. The pants need to be loose enough for the gun to be there. Okay? They need to be loose enough for the gun to be there. So basically, I am telling you not to wear hipster jeans. All right. I'm trying to keep this PG rated, so there's a joke I normally tell I will not. What I mean by that is if the waist and crotch area, legs, if the pants are too tight, they will actually try and pull the holster down or in and cause the gun to print some. Will also typically be very uncomfortable because there's just too much tension up against the holster. And what took me longer to figure this out than I wished it had of, because apparently I'm a slow learner, I would put on a pair of pants one day and I would be like, man, this holster is the most comfortable thing I've ever wore in my life. And the next day I would put on another pair of pants and I would be like, I hate this holster. This thing sucks. I don't know what's wrong. And then one day I was like doing laundry and I'm like, this pair of pants is comfortable and this pair isn't. Maybe it's the pants and not the holster, right? So that's kind of why I say pants need to be loose enough for the holster to be there. My wife, smoking hot bride, I am the luckiest man in the world. She wears women's pants. She looks really good in them. She carries a gun. she finds pants that allow her to do both. Okay, the same thing is true for the guys. Luckily, she likes the Duluth Trading Company pants on me, so that's what I wear, right? I'm good with that. She likes them. They work for me. Perfect. End of story, right? So, but you may have to shop around a little bit. The blue jeans that I wear are pretty particular because I have to have them that make me look good and allow me to carry my gear, right? So you may have to do some shopping on that. No big deal, right? Everybody likes to shop at least a little bit, especially in the gun stores. The higher the waisted the pants are, the more options it gives you to carry appendix, all right? One of the, some of the guns that some of the guys like to carry, you know, with a red dot and a, you know, Surefire 300, the holsters are literally this wide when it gets said and done, okay? Well, very few people, I will say it this way, very few people have enough room in their waist for that width of a holster to set between those 2 points. So they need it actually set above those. So they end up having to wear very high-waisted pants. Okay, they're out there, it works for them. Transversely, right back to the opposite problem is women wear low-waisted pants. I mean, I feel for you guys because you can't even find pants with pockets in them, right? I mean, true, it's literally true. I mean, my wife complains about it all the time. You know, I'm always like, why do you not have, you know, your checkbook or whatever, because she's always like, oh, I forgot my driver's license and my credit card. I'm like, how did you do that? She's like, I got no pockets to put them in. I'm like, oh, you're right, you don't. Okay, bad on me. So if that's what you're gonna wear, you may really need a smaller gun, a smaller holster to fit in that spot. It's gonna be very, very person dependent on that, okay? You know, the wife transitions from carrying a Walther PPS M2, a Glock 48, and a Sig Sauer X-Carry 320, okay? That's a pretty big gun, but she can actually make that completely disappear and look really attractive. So, it can be done. She was actually carrying an X5, which is the full-length 5-inch version of that. And she was like, this thing is just too long. And so we got her the shorter version. It's like 4 and a quarter, 4.5. What is it, Brian?
What's that?
X-Carry is like 4.5?
3.9.
3.9? Oh, okay, so 4-inch. I thought it was longer than that. So, okay. So that's what she carries, okay? So, you know, the most important thing is have a gun on you. Some ladies, some guys are not going to be able to carry a full-size Beretta. They're just not. My nephew is one of them. My nephew, hero in my eyes. He's a combat vet, and I'm really close to that kid. He's small enough that when he carries a Glock 17, the grip sticks out almost past his body, right? He just doesn't have enough width to carry that gun. So he typically runs a 19, and now he's gone to the 48 because it's the same size gun, except it's a 1/4 inch thinner, you know? And I think the Glock 48, 43X, and our Errand or Keeper holster is gonna be just a godsend for a lot of people for concealed carry. It's almost a full-size gun. It holds enough rounds. You got 10+1, Sig, you know, 238 or something like that. That might be the only thing they can fit there. Some of the clothes my wife wears, if you put a credit card inside her pants, you could see it, right? Well, you know, you're not going to be able to hide a gun in that type of attire. It's just not going to happen. right? Just back to Paul Sharp and the medium shirts. Shirt length is another key element for me. When I start talking about the draw stroke here in just a little bit, shirt length becomes a big factor. I like to have my shirts no longer than my loose arm hanging that I can get to the bottom of them, right? So that I can clear the cover garment easily. Now, the other thing that this helps is cold weather, all right? So think about it, if it's really super cold out, which it has been, you know, all weekend, the sun's coming out now, you know, thankfully. So if you start layering, what I suggest is that the innermost garment becomes the longest garment that you have on. All right, the reason for that is I want my coats to be a little shorter than the longest innermost garment, so that if I go to actually clear the cover garment to get to my gun, everything else gets bunched up underneath it, on top of the innermost cover garment, okay? Now what that may very well turn into is a two-handed clearing, right? Because you've got so much stuff on. Now, if you live, you know, where it is bitterly cold, at that point in time, at least what I have done when it's been 10 degrees in Oklahoma with a 50-mile-an-hour wind, I will move a gun to an outside pocket of a very heavy jacket. If I'm gonna be out in that kind of stuff and I know, you know, my draw stroke's gonna be like 3 seconds just to get to my gun, well, to me, that's not acceptable, so I will change that, right? So that is going to be situational, environmental things that you need to take account of.